think your kindness is the problem, it's not. What you're missing is something entirely different. And once you understand what it is, everything changes. Not just how people treat you, but how you see yourself. Here's what I've found after working with hundreds of people wrestling with this exact frustration. They come to me saying, "I'm kind, I'm genuinely kind. So why do the toxic people keep finding me? Why do I attract the manipulators, the energy vampires, the people who drain everything I have?" And they're right to be frustrated. Because they are kind, I can feel it, but their kindness isn't protecting them. If anything, it's making them a target. Most people try to solve this the wrong way. They say, "Okay, I need to be less kind. I need to build walls. I need to stop caring." So they harden themselves. They become colder, more guarded, suspicious of everyone. And for a while, maybe toxic people stay away. But so do the good people. They become isolated, and the irony is brutal. They sacrifice their actual nature to avoid the wrong people. But that's not the answer. The ancient Taoist masters understood something we've forgotten. They talked about tea, and I know that word sounds mystical, but stay with me because it's not. Tea is often translated as virtue, but that's incomplete. It's better understood as natural power or authentic strength. And here's what's crucial. Tea isn't the opposite of kindness. It's what kindness is missing when it becomes a target. Think about water. Water is soft, infinitely soft. It yields to every obstacle. But water is also powerful. It shapes stone. It moves mountains over time. It has what I call natural boundaries. It knows what it is, and it doesn't apologize for being water. Your kindness without tea is like water with all the power removed. It's still soft, but it's stagnant now. It's weak. And toxic people can smell weakness from miles away. Let me be specific about what's actually happening. Toxic people aren't attracted to kindness. They're attracted to the absence of resistance. They're looking for someone who will absorb their behavior without pushing back. They need someone who will accept the unacceptable, because that person's kindness has become a substitute for self-respect. You know what that looks like? It looks like you saying yes when you mean no. It looks like you apologizing for their behavior. It looks like you taking on their emotional weight, because your kindness tells you that's what love does. It looks like you shrinking yourself smaller and smaller so they feel comfortable. That's not kindness. That's a door left open for people to walk through and ransack your home. But here's what most people don't realize. Toxic people don't actually respect that kind of yielding. They exploit it, sure, but they don't respect it. Respect comes from something else entirely. In Taoism, there's a principle called returning to the root. It means knowing who you are at the deepest level and not apologizing for it. It means having tea, that natural power that comes from alignment with your actual nature. Here's the paradox that will change how you see this. The moment you develop real boundaries, toxic people become less attracted to you, not more. But healthy people become more attracted to you. Because suddenly, you're someone worth respecting. You're someone with standards. You're someone who knows the difference between giving and being taken from. And the most interesting part, you'll actually become more kind, not less. Because your kindness will come from a place of genuine choice, not compulsion. You'll give because you decide to, not because you're afraid of what happens if you don't. Stop for a second and notice something. When was the last time you felt genuinely respected by someone? not liked, not needed, but actually respected. Think about that feeling. Where did it come from? It came because that person had something you couldn't take from them. They had boundaries, they had a center, they had tea. Now this is where most people get confused. They think boundaries mean coldness. They think saying no means you don't care. They think having standards means you're selfish. That's Western thinking, and it's incomplete. In Taoism, the strongest thing isn't aggression, it's rootedness. It's the unmovable center that kindness flows from, not towards. Imagine a tree. A tree is generous. It gives oxygen, shade, fruit, shelter. It's incredibly giving. But a tree has a root system. It has a trunk. It has structure. When a parasite tries to feed on it, the tree doesn't become less generous. It simply doesn't allow the parasite to kill it. The tree protects itself not through aggression, but through the natural strength of its design. That's what tea looks like in practice. So how do you actually build this? How do you develop tea alongside your kindness? First, you stop apologizing for having needs. Your needs aren't selfish, they're baseline human requirements. The moment you frame your own survival as negotiable, toxic people know they can negotiate it away from you. Second, you practice the word no without explanation, not because you're being rude, but because a simple no is more respectful than a complicated yes that turns into resentment. Toxic people need you to over-explain. They need you to justify yourself. When you don't, when you simply hold your boundary with kindness, something shifts. Third, you become selective about who receives your kindness. This sounds harsh, but it's actually the most loving thing you can do. Your kindness is valuable. It's not unlimited currency to be spent on people who treat it like trash. Real kindness is discerning. It says, I will pour into people who value what I'm giving. Notice your breathing right now. Feel how it changes when you imagine saying no without apology. Most people hold their breath. They tense up. That tension is years of being trained to believe that boundaries equal cruelty. It's not true. It's the opposite. When you develop tea, when you become rooted in your own worth, your nervous system actually relaxes. Because you're no longer running the exhausting operation of managing other people's emotions and trying to be enough for them. Here's what changes when you understand this. Toxic people will still be toxic, but they'll find someone else to target, and you'll stop attracting them because you're no longer broadcasting, I'm available to be drained. Instead, you're broadcasting something entirely different. I'm kind and I know my value. You're welcome in my life if you respect both. Healthy people find this irresistible because healthy people want to be around someone with boundaries. They respect boundaries. They're relieved by them, actually, because it means they can be authentic too. They don't have to manage your emotions or worry they're hurting you. The water that flows around the rock isn't weak. It's powerful because it knows its nature. It doesn't fight the rock. It doesn't absorb the rock. It simply flows around it and keeps moving. And over time, that gentle, consistent force changes the rock. That's your kindness with tea. So when you ask yourself, why do toxic people keep finding me? The answer isn't that you're too kind. It's that your kindness is incomplete. It's missing the root. It's missing the boundary. It's missing the natural power that comes from knowing exactly who you are and refusing to shrink. The moment you add that, the moment you balance your softness with rootedness, everything shifts. Not dramatically, but unmistakably. People treat you differently. Toxic people drift away. Healthy people lean in. And most importantly, you stop hating yourself for being kind. Because you realize your kindness was never the problem. It just needed a spine. Start today with one boundary, just one. Notice how it feels. Notice what happens. That's where the real work begins. If this helped, hit like, subscribe, and keep it simple. See you tomorrow.